All right, everybody, welcome to match 3 of week 1. Today we are joined by Air Force None versus Snowbeans.
You may remember the majority of Air Force None from last season is they finally got over the hump and decided to win. And they're now 1-4 in finals.
Yeah. They're playing for... Actually, they played all 7 seasons, but they've been together for longer than that.
This iteration of the team has been together about 4 seasons, with Hunta and Lemos and Sparksy really coming into play in the last 3 or 4 seasons. Last season they had Little as their other player. This season he's been swapped out with Gary. I don't think there's much of an upgrade or a downgrade. It's just a different hero pool. Same vibes, both great dudes. They have a lot of chemistry, so I'm expecting a lot of good things out of that team.
Oh my gosh. Map ban has already been picked. They're going to be going to Lijiang Tower. Hero bans for this round are going to be Venture and Juno on the side of Air Force None, and Anna and Freya on the side of Snowbeans.
It's a little weird to me that there was no tank bans in this round.
I'd say the tanks on these, no offense, but the tanks on these two teams are not like the all-stars. That's going to like the supports and DPSs on both sides. That's not putting down their tank players. True. But like we got Tonk on Snowbeans and we've got Hunta and Nelmos on Air Force None. Like those guys are gonna be the showstoppers here.
Yeah, that will be interesting. As far as I'm aware, this is the first season I really remember Tonk not on his signature role, tank. I kind of always joked Tonk the tank, or the ball player specifically, as his ball is very, very, very good. So it's nice to see him branching out and offering some flexibility to the Snowbeans roster so they can utilize different people, with Deathtooth coming in as their tank now.
Mm-hmm. Very true. All right. With that, we are going to start loading into the match.
Very, traditionally this map has 3 kind of different play styles, right? I mean, there's control center, the one that's inside. There is gardens, which is very, very boop heavy, and then there's this map of night gardens, which can be both brawl and dive. There's a bunch of different possibilities that can come out from either of these teams.
Mm-hmm. I'm expecting to see a symmetric teleport on the one.
That would not surprise me, especially coming out of Air Force None. I think they really want to play that brawly style. Hunt is very well known for like her Sombra and her Mei gameplay. There's a little bit of hit scan mixed in there, but I think with Gary coming in, Hunt is gonna almost exclusively fill that like flex role. Gary, for a long time, has been a hit scan only player.
Interesting, Jared on the Diva.
I don't love this. I don't hate this. I'm going to be interested to see how the side of Snowbeans plays into this. Diva can be very good into this very brawl-heavy style that they're going to play, or it can be very bad.
Very true.
I will say I do like Snowbeans' composition just a little bit more. That full brawl with a Mei Sim, that can be very, very hard for this Diva to play into, especially with that break to kind of whip shot them away.
Oh yeah. Diva already on the point. Symmetric teleport comes out.
Ooh, Snowy gets caught out early.
In the first 5 seconds. Jared's low. Gets Suzu. They find Brig. That's both supports down.
Honestly, this is build ults and get out for the side of
they can't even build
Snowbeans.
They can even get Mei.
We do see in the Lemos already 40% of that coalescence. That's Moira really putting out a lot of healing in that fight.
Yeah.
And we see Deathtooth switch off that Reinhardt almost immediately and go over to the Zarya, countering, really trying to bully Jared out of that mech. They broke the TP, and now Jared's very, very low. Had to boost her back to point. That's a bunch of like free space. Ooh, Cajun with a great shot onto Gary. Losing that's Sojourn can be a lot of damage. Cajun with the second pick in this fight, and that's their
Gary
support
gets
gone.
walled off, gets away with the dash. Symmetric turret's just melting the Zarya.
Jared is able to come in and find Cajun, but it looks like... Oh, maybe? Maybe I spoke too early?
Turret's
Ooh,
doing
Max
work.
gets caught by the turret. That was Cole force from the side of Air Force None. Deathtooth finds one. Is very low health. This keeps going back and forth. I
Misses the
don't...
symmetric teleport.
The Blizzard on point is a little interesting. Does it get them the point? Maybe it does. Diva's still there. Gets a boop onto Max. Forces the Kiriko out. And now they're able to hold. Snowbeans invested a lot into that fight and just kept seeing their percentage tick up for Air Force Nuns. They are coming in with Grav, Simwall, Kitsune, which Air Force will be able to match with their own wall and Kitsune.
First wall comes out, second wall comes out.
That is a lot of the space mitigated on point. But they have to touch. They did manage to get the touch. Big grab from Deathtooth from the back, but just isn't able to have anybody follow up on it. Kitsune finally comes out on point. It's just Deathtooth left. And that will be a clean 100-0 in the side of Air Force Nuns.
A lot of value coming out of the Air Force None symmetric turrets there.
There is a weird balance that needs to be played with this composition of both going fast and not too fast. I think there were times where Snowbeans played it a little too slow and were able to let those sim turrets really farm up damage on them. And then they prolonged fights instead of just dying and getting out. They only had 2 fights in that entire point, right? I mean, they lost that first fight almost immediately when they lost both supports. And then they just had another support, or another ult fight, my bad, that lasted for 40% of the point. By the time you die and reset, you have one more team fight. And you didn't force any ults from the side of Air Force None. We will see Jared come over and match the Zarya, but Tonk will go over to the Bastion, providing a lot of damage. He did get a slight nerf in this most recent patch.
Oh man,
Deathtooth
already.
is the first one to fall. Is able to get rezzed back up.
There's
But
Bastion now.
they trade Tonk. This backline coming out from Snow Piece feels very greedy. It feels very damage boosty. You have to get picks early, otherwise you're going to lose the sustain of the Kiri and the Moira. As you see, Lemos gets 3 in that fight, 2 with an orb, and now they're able to just sit up here and hold this choke very, very aggressively. I do like the Rhine switch coming out from Deathtooth here. I don't mind the Mei, especially if they can get some decent walls up here from Tonk to isolate one of their targets. Cage is coming up to that tire. They know there's got to be a bunch of sim turrets on this point.
There's one sim turret just sitting by the plant getting value anytime someone walks up.
I say it over and over again. Break the turrets. It's not hard. They're melee-able.
Oh, that was a interesting grab.
That was a grab of all time coming out from Jared. They're able to just life grip it out. But like this fight is going very... Ooh, that was a very good, I don't know, boop or something to get Hunt to miss place like that. Now they should be able to walk in for free. Deathtooth just falls over though. Tire gets no value as it's blocked by the bubble. 2 ults coming out from the air side of Air Force None, and it will probably win them the fight here. They are able to get one, but again, these fights are going too long. They're just not getting enough of them.
Oh, wall comes out.
Deathoof is just having to play Shield Simulator and isn't really able to walk in and swing or do much. I really feel like this Mercy Lifeweaver backline coming out from the side of Snowbeans is not providing the proper sustain that they need. Cajun is able to get one. Are they going to touch? Tonk is able to go over and touch.
Blizzard comes out. Finds no one, but does give some area denial.
Hunter gets two, one with a turret.
It's again still getting value.
They get a flip, and now it's a pocket Zarya at 100 charge and a Ryan with no shield.
Oh, they are actively getting surrounded though. Shatter comes out, finds Jared.
Misses that first fire strike on him and isn't able to kill him. Gets a second grab. Now you just have two beams. That's a good life grip, but I don't think there's going to be anybody to touch.
Mercy getting caught out there.
The classic Ryan thing of not able to pin anybody in a group of people in a round-sized hallway.
Very quick first map to Air Force None.
I'll be interested to see what this is. It felt like those sim turrets just got infinite value from Hunter. They just weren't getting broken properly.
Yeah.
Alright, we are on a short intermission as map and bands are coming out. Okay.
Noodles on my pants.
That is unfortunate. Rip pants.
Yeah, it looks fine.
We are going to be going to King's Row, a staple of every Overwatch, it seems like.
Probably, honestly, probably one of the best maps in the game. I don't know about balance-wise, but just like, it's just a good map.
I would say it's iconic, but it's been in the game for what, 10 years now?
Yeah.
So I can thoroughly say I still enjoy it at times, but there's also times of, okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah, this feels like the 2-4 of Overwatch. It's just like, it's not necessarily, it's not like the best map in the game, but it's just good. It's like iconic, yeah.
Personally, it is not one of my favorite hybrid maps. I think there are better hybrid maps available. But it does provide itself to some very, I guess, unique, different compositions that we can see.
Yeah. It's fun.
It looks like all the rosters will be staying the same with Deathoof and Tonk not switching. There was talks of that. Still waiting on the bans to come through. I like this Moira ban coming out. Forced the Lemos onto something a little more, I don't know, sustainable, right? Maybe force them onto a BAP or something where they can get the same amount of value, but the coalescence of Moira is just goes through those shields and really mitigates any pressure the Ryan can relieve from the Zarya.
Oh yeah.
So junk ban coming out from the side of Air Force None. We did see Cajun play that on this last map here, so it makes sense. The Snow Peas are banning Genji. I don't know a single Genji player on either roster.
I don't know a single Genji player in the whole tournament.
With Rabble unfortunately not being able to play this season, there are no like signature Genji players. I would agree with that. I think there's a few people that have it as a very niche flex option, but
Max being my favorite as always.
just so a JP moment does not happen in the first week of the season, competitive rules are enabled. 1-2-2 map is King's Row. Disabled heroes are Genji, Junkrat, Lifeweaver, and Moira. Both sides are ready, and we're gonna hop into the match here. We will say Ryan here on King's Row, maybe the most famous combination of tank and map. Both may or may not have this May that'll come out, but it'll be really Tonk versus Gary on this Venture and Hanzo that will change a lot of things. Also the Ana Brig backline coming out from the side of Air Force None. If the ride is able to get on them, that is very bad. That is be ran over very easily. I do prefer the Juno Kiriko coming out from the side of Snowbeams here. And it will be a matching of the Ryan. Able to just speed through that choke right away so they don't get walled off. I do like the Pharah pick here from Cajun just to put a lot of pressure on that backline or the Ryan shield, whichever comes out first. Jared dropping very low and Deathtooth is just able to swing on it repeatedly. Tonk finds Gary in the backline. Jared's now isolated from the rest of his team, falls, and that is 3 picks as Cajun finds Hunta for the side of Snowbeans, allowing them to more than likely cap this first point. We now see Jared switch back over to the D.Va and Gary over to an Ashe to help mitigate some of this Pharah.
Oh, big shatter.
3-man shatter coming out from the side of Deathtooth. Forces Nano, but they lost Gary and... Oh, they lost 3. Jared is able to trade 1 back. Hunt is able to get... It's an even fight right now. The baby D.Va prevails over the large German man in heavy armor. And that will be Snowbeans pushing it through this first choke point, which can be very, very difficult to break. There was 1 ult for 1 team fight on the side of Air Force One. They did infest that Nano into Jared to keep him up. He almost turned the fight, but unfortunately he just lost his neck a little late into that fight.
Blizzard and Justice. Like that.
I like the barrage there as it was able to keep Air Force None from pushing on the back of that Blizzard where they had 2 or 3 people frozen up in the back line. Cajun does go down here first. That's a lot of backline pressure lost on the side of Snow. And it looks like they're just going to back out of this fight and try to maintain the space. Jared is gonna do a remake D.Va bomb there. Does get max. Cajun does trade back Sparcy, and Deathtooth is able to find Gary, so that Pharah should have a lot of free reign to just pressure people out. Hunta is able to trade Snowy, Tog trades Hunta, back and forth and back and forth. Jared does get Cajun, but is now kind of trapped in the back line. Does lose his mech. Is finally brought down. And Tonk is able to get Nalemos on point. That should be a lot of space coming up here for Snow Owls, or Snow Peas, my bad. We have Shatter, we have Juno ult, Orbital Ray. Get me for a second.
Oh, big
Ooh,
block.
Sparks is able to block the Shatter though.
Oh,
But
doesn't
Tonk
matter.
gets
Doesn't
3!
Doesn't matter.
Rally and Nano invested from the side of Air Force None. They do end up capping with about 4 minutes left in this time bank, so that's a reasonable time bank to come into the last point in King's Row here. However, I do feel like now the compositions favor Air Force None just a little bit more. Diva able to pressure that high ground and really maintain that space can be very difficult for Cajun to get a lot of value here. Max does find Hunter with the only ult available on the side of Air Force Nuns.
Oh, Farah.
Does manage to get 2 with the barrage, which can be absolutely massive. Deathtooth is going to get absolutely demolished. Solo ulted with the Blizzard and the anti. Jared, it looks like he's going to be able to trade out at the back line. And that'll be a reset on the side of Snow Peas here.
And a swap to Sim from May.
They have, on the side of Air Force Nuns, they have both Diva Bomb and High Noon available. Though I feel like Noon will be either used as a reload or a zoning ultimate, not necessarily a...
Oh, he could have gotten fire there.
Honestly, impressive job from the supports to keep Deathtooth there. A big cleanse from Max and a bigger Kitsune. I think this will allow Tonk to really pressure that backline. The Nano coming out onto Gary. Ooh, Deathtooth misses the Shatter. Does get flashed to death. Tonk pops his ult, doesn't find anything, just a bunch of chip damage. And they're forced to retreat again. I'm going to say it again. These sim turrets are really hurting Snow Peas here. Jared is able to find Tonk in the back line. The Orbital Barrage doesn't do much as Jared finds 2. Not only is able to trade back Nalemos, but it looks like they're going to lose their life. Does force the remech bomb. And now it's final team fight here for the side of Snow Peas. And they lose Max. That's another big stagger with the only one of 2 support ults that's up. Deathtooth switches over to the Zarya to maybe pressure out the Diva a little bit more, but it says letting these sim turrets get so much value.
Oh, Max.
Max dies just before she gets Kitsune. Cajun trades 1. Both teams are... Oh. The May wall, or Sim wall, is very good to zone out the rest of Snow Peas. With an admirable push, they're about halfway through 3rd point. This is very holdable for the side of Snow Peas. will have Deathoof come out in the Sigma, which I don't know if I've seen him play very much, but I do like the pick. I think Sigma is very strong in the current patch.
Even better.
Nothing else to really change up here. Jared is going to come out on the Reinhardt, which if he's able to get on top of the Sigma can really run him over, but that's a big if without speed. But he does have that Sim TP. Good rock just to get a little chip damage and stall from Deathoof there. I really want to see Tonk just try to displace some of this backline. A good sleep coming out from Snowy on Jared, just stalling the push a little bit. Max is forced to cleanse the backline as it's anti. Ooh, a big anti out onto Jared, and Tonk is able to find Hunta. That is a lot of damage and rotational ability lost for the side of Air Force None.
just sitting in the pillar.
Ooh, a good pin from Jared though to get Tonk. Probably won't be punished here. As he finds a second one, or Gary finds it, and now you have a Sigma just being able to be swung on by Reinhardt. The crazy pin into the backline got the venture open, and now Air Force Nuns is able to cap this first point. Deathoof now switches over to the Reinhardt, and they should be able to hold close here on this choke point. Cajun switches from the Mei over to the Bastion. Jared is find out on his flank in the backline. Tonk finds Sparksy, which is a good opener. Jared is able to pin back to the safety of his team though.
Oh,
ooh, good block from Deathoof. I think that's a nano onto the Symmetra here.
I think that was a misinput.
He gets one. Now a nano onto the Reinhardt, which I do like more. Is antied and is forced to back up just a little bit. Does do enough damage to get the trade on to Jared. And then Snowy and Max really showing that it is support and not healer, picking off the other two. Sparks answers right back. Kiriko for Kiriko. Deathoof is going to have that shatter coming out, so look for Jared to try to block that. And Monk has that Venture ult. Hunter TPs them up to high ground. The Rhines are knocked down, but Deathoof is madly out of position and gets blown up by the Rhine and the Sojourn. Tonk pauses his ult, gets Gary in the backline, but Sparksy trades him right back. Jared is fighting for his life against a Bastion with a double support pocket. Big anti from there to take out Cajun finally. A Kitsune in the very back. Deathoof does get one in the shatter. Maybe that'll be enough to trade and sustain him. Bastion ult is coming out. Nano Tonk gets Hunter on the flank. And Snowbeans are able to hold at this very last choke of B. This can be a lot of time. Able to collapse on Jared and get another stagger. Though they do lose Tonk, they will be back about the same time. Carry on this Sojourn, taking a flank over here on the left side, just pressuring so much. Nano comes out from Nalemos onto Hunter, but Deathoof pins him out of Shatter. Maybe not a block, but cancels it none all the same. An amazing cleanse from Max to save Snowy in the backline. Hunter cleans up on point, and that should be the cap here on the side of Air Force None. Jared finally gets Snowy, and now we see Cajun switch over to this far up, maybe to put a little bit more pressure and control these high grounds a little bit. Just a lot of chip damage being traded back and forth. I think it's really just trying to build up those support ults. The Sim Wall from Hunted does a good job of isolating Death Oof. The Kitsune from Sparksy should allow them to be ran down. Death Oof does fall to Jared finally. Snowy gets solo shattered. That's 3 for the side of Air Force Nuns. It is up to Tonk and Cajun, and they have about 2 seconds to touch. Tonk uses all of his cooldowns, doesn't get anywhere. Cajun does not, falls off the map. Max is able to touch. And that is another victory on the side of Air Force Nuns.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Now, heading over to Escort with the map, the 2 maps that are available are Dorado or 66, which have very, very, very different play styles. They will opt to go to Dorado, which I feel like favors Air Force None, especially with them being so proficient on that Diva comp.
Yeah.
The Sim Diva ban coming out from Snowbeans, I very much like. It's do or die time, and those are the 2 heroes I feel like they've been really pressuring them. Air Force None with the Mercy ban. All right, both teams are ready. We're tapping in to the 3rd map here of game number 3 of week 1.
Initiating match. Ready for battle.
We see Jared on a Doomfist, which is, I guess, unique and interesting pick for this map. Especially, I think Winston is still a little better, especially with those recent nerfs to Doomfist. Hunter comes out on a Freya with no sim available to them. Gary and Tonk are matching on the Avenger here, with both teams running a Moira as well. It'll be interesting to see how Deathoof is able to pressure these high grounds as a Sigma on this map.
Big rock.
That is a very good rock from Deathoof to find that pick there, but they're able to trade it right back for the venture of their own. Deathoof does find the Lemos, so no supports for the time being on the side of Air Force 9. Jared is able to find Cajun, cancels the punch. Tonk finds Hunter, but the Kiriko comes back in just enough time to keep the two players alive here for the side of Air Force 9s. Snowy does fall to the Venture in the backline. That's a lot of healing gone for the side of Snowbeam. Gary finds his second one with Cajun, and it looks like they're going to be able to hold at this incredibly difficult choke point. We do see Cajun switch off of that Cassidy over to a Pharah here.
Thanks for pitching me.
They do force the Doomfist ult, but Snowy gets hit by whatever Freya's ult is, the bullish shot, and falls. They tree in their own spawn. They do manage to kill Jared off of it. And Tonk gets Hunter. That is a 2-for-1 trade here. Cole is popped by Nalemos, who doesn't get a lot of value here. Noe's Coalescence, it feels like a lot more value. Tonk trades out the Venture, pops the ult, and forces it back. Air Force 9 might have a little bit of a very good flux here from Deathoof. And that should be the first cap point. First point capped, sorry. Cajun finds 2 to clean up that fight and is chasing a third. Jared now switches over to the ball. Cajun does find Hunter. Jared is able to put a lot of pressure back onto the point there. Force them back and create some valuable space for his team there. Cajun gets caught out. Max falls as well. Tonk does trade Gary out again. With them not being able to finish the kill on Jared, that is a lot of ult charge going over to their supports. Tonk gets antied and is able to live. Just barely makes it out. Snowy dies to bullet shot again. Cajun is able to trade it. Tonk is able to get some progress on the payload here. And will manage to get out with his life. Jared does have minefields coming up here, as that's the only ult on the side of Air Force None, where they will have Gravitic Flux, well, I don't remember what Ventures is called, Tree, and Barrage all on the side of the solo Barrage onto Jared. That relieves so much pressure on the backline, allowing Snowy and Max to just farm now. I'd really like to see them tree point here and just guarantee the cap. It may not need to. Cajun and Tonk get 2, and they're able to cap with about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. A very clean third attack there on the second point from Snowbeams. Tonk is able to find Gary yet again. He's putting in a lot of work and a lot of backline pressure on this venture here. Deathoof is quite overextended and does get moved forward, but Cajun finds Gary yet again. Tonk finds one with a nut with his ult. Jared does finally stem the bleeding a little bit with trading out Tonk there. Mines the point, and Lemos gets Cajun. This might be just enough for Air Force Nuns to stabilize here. I'm not sure when, but Hunter did make the switch over to the Ash. And they almost have Bob getting a lot of value off those dynamites. Ooh, a very good nade coming in from Nelmos there to finish off Max. That's both supports. The Nano, may have been a bit overkill there. I don't feel like Deathoof is gonna live here. The ult to eventual ult to finish off Cajun switching over to the Bastion. Deathoof does have this Gravitic Flux, and both support ults are available for the side of OPs.
Oh, flux. Big flux.
Does manage to get Lemos, who misses the sleep. That is an opening pick that they can maybe work off of here. The Bob is going to create a lot of pressure on the back line. He is able to just shield them off and walk point. Another minefield on point for Jared. The tree to help mitigate a lot of that. They do still have Coalescence and Bash and ult on the side of Snowbeams. Snowy gets one, Deathoof gets one. This is final fight territory. Big pile drive coming out from Jared. Manages to get him a lot of shield, but no, Hunter barely gets a touch. 2 with the Bastion ult, 3 with the Bastion ult, and it's just the ball left, and that should be a full map completion to the side of Snowbeams.
Deathoof just standing there at the last thing, like, oh, what's going on?
I've done that very, very many times in my ranked games.
Initiating match.
I will say I was very impressed with the peel that Max and Snowy had for each other in this team in that last push there. They just didn't die.
No.
They were able to just live for so long, providing value. Together they have 7 deaths, and Sparksy and Lemos are at 13, so almost doubling their deaths. Not necessarily saying they're healing a lot more or doing a lot more damage, but just being able to live and survive and taking all of those resources from the tank and the DPS and not dying and allowing their tank to make the space that it needs to. was a very, very good job from them. We will see Wu Yang played. I don't know if this is the first time it's been played again. Yeah, I noticed it. It's the first season, I believe he's available.
He was played
We'll
like
see them.
for 5 seconds in the last 2 games, but he got swapped off pretty fast.
They have Gary on the Echo to provide a little bit of high ground pressure, and
It's
Hunta
already
on
dead.
this Sombra. They do trade 1-for-1, but I will say, a support I feel is more valuable than a DPS. Ooh, the beam does manage to get the Sigma down. That is a massive pick coming in from Gary. Death Oof switches over to a Queen here. Can definitely be interesting. Manages to shout and just barely get the point. Is hacked out. And blows up near immediately. Finishing first point with nearly 5 minutes of the time bank. That is a lot of time to get through the second point. Ooh, Hunter gets picked early. And Deathoof manages to find one as well. Gary duplicates the queen here. Gets forced out. Manages to get out with his life.
Oh, gets hacked
Deathoof
out.
gets hacked on the high ground. Manages to get out and live just barely. Cajun finds one. Deathoof is incredibly low, but Cajun finds a second one in this fight. Deathoof is playing very, very aggressive here.
Too aggressive.
Will more than likely fall. Would not be surprised if they EMP engage this. The primal from Jared on a small corridor. Deathoof does manage to find Gary. Gets the rampage off to touch point. Are they going to see 9? No, Cajun finds Jared as well. And they might be able to just flip this and hold it at the very last second here. Jared gets blown. Ooh, Cajun is the first one to fall there. I thought it was going to be Jared. Sparksy doing a great job of keeping him up. A big EMP manages to hit 3 on the side of Snowpeas. Deathu falls. Tonk is able to stall just a little bit. Cajun does find one, but I don't think it'll be enough for them to touch. 4 minutes to cap the point and force a second round. Ooh, a big duplicate from Gary. That allows Jared to clean up 2 in that fight. Deathu switching off of the Junker Queen and over to the Mauga. Possible unethical Overwatch being played here. Especially with the Bastion. They decided, hey Jared, we don't like you. You don't get to live. They trade tank for tank. The Kitsune does come out. The Lemos finds another with his Cole. Tonk fighting for his life on point, just misses the burrow. Cajun does find Sparksy, which could be a nice opening for this fight. Deathoof is fighting for his life on point.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Kimiko.
Jared manages to get the juggle on the Bastion, finds his second one. Tonk trades one out, but they will be capping here with about 220 in the time bank.
Complete. Scaling up. Score 3-3. Switching sides. Initiating match. Ready for battle.
We now see Jared coming out on the Sigma. Gary sticking to that Echo, where he had a bunch of success on their attack. The Lemos not playing a Moira or an Ana, switch instead for Kiriko.
5, 4.
And on the side of Snowpiece, Deathoof maybe just trying to get an early cheeky hook.
Incoming.
Tonk on that, what's become a signature venture for him on this series. Cajun sticking to the Sojourn. Max on a Weaver and Snowy on that Kiriko. Ooh, a good hook, forces the cleanse and a TP. Isn't able to quite finish that one-shot combination. Sparksy and Hunter managed to find two in the back. And that's half their time bank or more already gone. Gary finds one, Hunter finds another. That's already two down to start the last fight of this push. Max is able to trade out Hunter though, which could be big. Max does die, and it's just Tonk. Deathoof. Deathoof manages to land the hook on Sparksy. Are they gonna Sig 9? Nope, Tonk is able to touch. Tonk coming in clutch. Big cleanse coming in from Snowy, just able to get that TP off. Talk about some clutch factor coming in from Deathoof and Tonk there. They're going to be able to cap this first point with only a minute in their time bank. However, if they step off for even a second, they're going to be... The OT is going to burn.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Gary misses the hook and immediately gets his copy blown up. Deathoof is able to find Hunter at a great opening to this fight. We did see the Lemos switch over to this Ana to maybe try to force out those antis onto the Hog. But with Snowy on that Kiriko, it's going to be hard to capitalize on that value. An aggressive Kitsune coming out from Snowy here. The Lemos does find Cajun. The Bob gets misplaced and has no LOS of anybody. Another great hook from Death Oof to pull Hunt off the high ground. Are they able to capitalize? Yes, yes they are. Tonk does find one before he dies. Max is
Oh.
just able to touch a hook from Death Oof to cancel the Sig ult. The nano onto Gary to maybe confirm some kills. Tonk does perish. Death Oof gets Jared though. Another sleep coming out to Death Oof. Another cleanse with the anti. And they continue to roll. Death Oof coming in absolutely clutch in this final attack for the Snowbeam. And that's the second point. Jared finally matches the hog. No ults to speak of really on either side except from this copy. Death Oof does get hooked first. Gary misses the hook onto the copy of the Roadhog. Jared gets body blocked. And they C9,
C9.
they didn't get through the door in time.
Score 3-5. Switching sides. Initiating match. Ready for battle.
We are going to see Death Oof come out on this hog again, which I do like. He was hitting a lot of hooks and was able to keep himself up, allowing Snowy and Max to just keep themselves up.
Five, four, three, two, one. Attackers incoming.
No less than I deserve.
I think for the second time this series, we see Tonk offer the venture and on a Reaper. And gets blown up immediately. Got maybe a little overzealous and over aggressive there on the hog. Very similar stuff coming out from the side of Air Force Nuns, with the exception of Jared on hog. That dude does hit a big hook. Isn't able to quite body block him. Deathoof does manage to hit the one-shot combo on Gary, evening out the fight, and Tonk should be back. Jared is caught out with no breather, caught between a Bastion and a Reaper. That's a lot of damage real fast. Gary with the Genji. There's a Genji player in the big 2026. I thought they nerfed him into the ground and then some. What a hook from Death Oof. Jared switches over to the Sigma and gets demolished. Cajun decided it was a good idea to shoot a deflect and learned that's not true. You see Death Oof consistently being at this tech of jumping up and able to just reclaim that high ground with two simple jumps. Gary is doing a great job of pressuring Max in the back line. A possible big bob there from Hunta. Does manage to get Death Oof blown up with the accretion coming in from Jared. Manages to land that bob perfectly on point, meaning they don't have to sit there and push. But Hunta does fall to the hands of Cajun in the backline. Tonk finds Sparksy. Gary finds the Bastion yet again. A tree coming out from Max isn't able to save Snowy or Tonk. Doing her best to stall the point as long as she can. And that's a great hold. That was almost 3 minutes burned off the clock there from the side of Snowbeans. They win one team fight and they win the map. And Cajun switching to this far, that seems to be a very, very popular pick for Cajun here. Ooh. A good block on the hook from Jared. Manages to find quite a few with that Gravitic Flux, but not able to capitalize on them. Tog finds two on point, finds three. And unless a miracle blade from Gary dies, and that will be a map win from the side of Snowpeas.
Play of the game.
And we're going to a fourth map. Every game this season has gone to a fourth map at least. And it will be flash or push. For the first time in this series, we're going to be seeing AFN pick the map with the push or flash maps available to them. With the push maps being Esperanza or Coliseo, and the flashpoint being New Junk City. Personally, I think they would take New Junk City. I feel like that fits their playstyle the best. And now with that Sim and the Diva back, that could be a lot of trouble for Snowbeans. And they're taking us to Esperanza. Maybe my least favorite push map in the game. None of them are good though. And they're gonna ban out Cajun's Pharah here. Maybe a little interesting considering there's so much open space. Would you get Zarya banned out from the side of No Beans? And Bastion from Air Force Nuns.
Initiating match. Ready for battle.
It will be a Diva Mir here from Deathoof and Jared. Tonk sticking with that venture. Cajun coming out on Vendetta, the newest hero to Overwatch, who plays very, very well to Diva. Max and Snowy on Lifeweaver and Mercy, respectively. For Air Force None, it will be a Sojourn, a Sombra, a Moira, and an Ana. Nobody's really falling here. Gary is the first to fall. Deathoof is demeched. Cajun is able to find Sparks. He is hacked. Will fall to the hands of Hunter. Tonk will get Hunter. Jared does finally manage to get Deathoof. Deathoof gets res almost immediately. Snowy does lose her life for it. And there is just a sneaky little Tonk pushing the bot. Does get hacked out and will fall. Gary switches over to the Cassidy here. Tonk does have the first ult in the lobby, with Nilemos falling closely behind it with that Coalescence.
Nice and steady, everyone. We just took the lead.
Jared is taking a lot of damage, but a big nade from Sparks. He hits 3, and Cajun will be the first to fall in this fight. All 5 ultimates for the side of Snowbeams. They tree on point, but they do lose Snowy. Diva Bomb is forced as a remech. Doesn't get anybody. Tonk is able to find Hunter again. There are no supports for the side of Snowbeams right now. And Snowbeams will be able to claim this first fight win of their and be able to start pushing, but not before all the members will be able to get forward spawned.
Enemy forward spawn room deactivated.
Ooh, I lied. Jared just misses it. Hunter finds Snowy right away. Cajun is able to find Hunter right before Max dies. Cajun isn't able to find anybody with the ult. Max and Tonk both fall. And that's another team fight win for Air Force None, as they'll be able to get past this forward spawn a little bit further now. Hunter's looking for an EMP here. Waits out that Valk. Does die immediately for it, and there's nothing is able to be followed up. They're able to win that team fight, but allow them to get an extra 5 or 6 meters of progress, which could come back to hurt Snowbeams badly. We want to switch off of that Sombra, just not getting the value maybe once, and goes over to the Symmetra. They're able to hunt Talk down. The Diva Bomb in the back line gets nothing, and that's both DPS, Max and Snowy. Maybe an overcommitment and a nano there from Sparksy.
Enemy forward spawn room deactivated.
Cajun's gonna get caught out here by a Diva and a Symmetra. We see Deathu switch over to the Ramatra. Does trade Sparksy.
The cleanse from Max is able to save Tonk just barely. The Diva Bomb does manage to get Death Oof. I thought he got out of it. The res, but Snowy dies for it again. Gary finds Tonk. Jared does get demeched. Is not able to be finished off though. Hunter and Death Oof trade. Jared's able to get back in mech, and now it's a 4v3. Jared loses mech immediately and dies to Cajun. Snowy's able to raise Cajun. Sparksy does fall, but it's 127 meters to 16 with just 3 minutes left on the clock. The Noon from Cajun doesn't get anybody, but does buy a lot of space. They're able to win this team fight and finally deactivate these forward spawns from AFN.
Enemy forward spawn room deactivated.
The only ult available in the entire game right now. Well, I take that back. There's two. It's Ramatra time and Fissure, whatever Ventures is called. Jared plays uber aggressive, trying to buy a little bit of space, but just loses his mech and his ult for it. Gary is able to take out his counterpart and the other DPS. No DPS available. No Snowy. Gary on a crazy flank managed to get 3, 4. And Datu finally falls. He's able to stall a little bit to allow his team to get spawned. Unfortunately, they didn't get that forward spawn. And Jared, again, playing maybe a little bit of unethical watch, switches over to that Mauga. Datu sees that and switches to a Queen. Nano Gary gets one. Hunter finds another. Tonk is gonna fall. Hunter gets Snowy. Efuth does manage to find Hunter here. But in the last minute, and you're still down approximately 80 meters, things are not looking great for Snowbeans here. Jared just blows up. Cajun over to a Freya, which we've only seen one other time in the series. Jared back over to the Diva, decided to give up on unethical watch, and we'll play Diva here. The supports of Max and Snowy are doing a great job to keep Deathtooth up. Deathtooth is forced to shot and falls anyway. They cannot leave this bot. Gary's Noon finds one. They manage to retouch. Gary finds a second. Gary finds a third. Gary finds a fourth. And Gary will clean up and let the AFN win this series in a 3-1 fashion.
Play of the game.
Alright, now we're just gonna wait for Jared to send over one of his players for an interview. Alright, here we are.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the interview.
Yeah, you
Thank
get the goat.
Thank you.
Sparksy absolutely won that for us today.
Yeah, by nanoing everybody except Jared.
Yeah, we don't worry about that. He just learned my name today.
Yeah. Crazy. We played together on a team for a whole season, and I only just learned it.
True, it's true.
True fact.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
am I interviewing
So,
Sparksy?
I'm
So,
fine.
you won.
Yeah.
How does it feel to get the first win of the season?
Pretty good, pretty good. Good momentum going into first match. Obviously, we've kept this core for a little while, so that definitely helps things a lot. But Gary and Sparksy are new wrinkles.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you feel like those new guys meshed into the core of you, Hunter, and the Lemos?
Gary is just like spry but cooler, and this is absolutely spry hate mail. And then, I mean, Sparksy's not going to be little, but like he definitely didn't feed and did what he needed to. So overall, it was pretty good. Really enjoyed it.
So you were on a good streak for the first two maps until the escort came around, and then I don't know what happened. Did Snowbeans just lock in, or was there some miscommunication going on there?
No, part of it was the Diva ban, but then the rest of it was, I mean, it's just a good map for their high ground players. They can play really strong with Venture and Vendetta and then Pocket Pharah. And so without Diva, it just relies on my DPS more to deal with that. And then I didn't adapt good enough for the Hog. I probably should have just played Horse.
I don't think we've seen a horse yet.
I don't think so either.
What else?
So what compositions did you feel worked the best, and which ones do you think like you need to practice more?
Anything without a Diva was a little more rough. Zarya is kind of rough on high ground maps, so that would be our next go-to tank. But outside of that, Hunter on Sombra just kind of gels everything together, so it's kind of hard to go wrong with anything like that. I think we need to get Sparksy's Brig a little more tuned up. And he promised next week his Brig's going to be significantly better.
Trust. Trust.
Hmm.
Oh, hi, Sparksy. I didn't realize you were here.
Okay.
Hello.
Let's go back to that first map actually. What inspired the sim? Because just sim just got a lot of value on that first map.
Um, it's something we play a lot last season with Little, but between that and May, Hunter just felt like it was the right pick in the scenario.
Hmm.
So it was really just felt right. Just felt good in the time.
Do we have any compliments for what Snowbean did well?
Yeah, their DPS line is really annoying. And I know
Mhm.
Tonk's not their main guy, but between Venture and Vendetta, those comms are really kind of hard to just get out there. Because it's just both Ven and Ven.
Yeah.
I mean, with the pocket, it was pretty rough that last map to get on their support line specifically.
What is the game plan when it comes to like Vendetta Adventure? Because like the dashes are just obnoxious. They can get in, get out whenever they basically feel like.
Um, Honestly, it's kind of just ignore it until everything else is dead.
Sounds like a problem for future me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other questions. Great game. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck on the season moving forward.
Thanks, man. And your game's at 7 p.m.?
Eastern Standard Time.
All right, we will be there and be square, man.
Nice.
Cool beans, man.
Have a good night, everybody. See you then.
Night.